India just became a $4 trillion economy, overtaking Japan in nominal GDP. But instead of celebration, some people say, so what? We're still poor compared to Japan or Singapore. So let's clear this up. Why is hitting $4 trillion a massive milestone? Why comparing India's per capita income with tiny nations is completely flawed? And how India can become a prosperous, developed society even without matching the West dollar for dollar. Stay with me, because this is not just about GDP. It's about how India can redefine prosperity in its own terms.
Let's start with the basics. Yes, India has over 1.4 billion people. So when we divide India's GDP by population, its per capita income seems low, around $2,800 in 2024. In comparison, Japan's is $35,000, Singapore's is over $88,000. But here's what many people miss. India's GDP didn't grow just because it has a large population. India has always been populous, since ancient times. But being populous never made India rich automatically. This $4 trillion GDP is the result of liberalization in 1991, the rise of IT, pharma, and manufacturing, the digital payments revolution. UPI handles 12+ billion transactions monthly. Rapid infrastructure expansion, 30 kilometers of highways built per day, and economic resilience, even after COVID. So yes, it's a hard-earned success, not a fluke. And this matters because it gives India global influence. It enables stronger public spending on health, education, and defense. It opens the door to having a $10 trillion GDP.
Now let's address the common argument.
But Japan is still richer than India.
India doesn't have Singapore's living standards. True, but here's what they don't tell you. Singapore has just 6 million people, which is equal to one Delhi suburb. Japan's population is shrinking, and its median age is 49 years. India's is just 28. Singapore and Japan are developed, but they've also plateaued. India is still growing, fast. Now imagine this. To match Singapore's income level of $88,000 per person, India would need a GDP of over $120 trillion. That's more than the entire world's current GDP. So no, India doesn't need to copy the West's income to be successful. Instead, India can focus on this: raise incomes in rupees, keep inflation low, make basic needs affordable, and build a system where people can live well without needing Western-level dollars. This is called purchasing power prosperity, and it's smarter, scalable, and uniquely Indian.
So what does real prosperity look like for India? It's not chasing dollar figures. It's when an average Indian can
Own a house, send kids to good schools, afford quality healthcare, take vacations within India, save money, access clean cities and reliable transport. And India can do this at a per capita of even $6,000 to $8,000, not $50,000. How? Because housing, food, and services are cheaper in India. Digital systems like UPI Aadhaar Jantan reduce inefficiencies. A young population means high energy and workforce availability. Public goods like Delhi Metro, Ayushman Bharat, and NEP education reform improve quality of life at scale. India's model doesn't need to mimic the West. It can be more inclusive, sustainable, and indigenous.
But let's be clear, hitting $4 trillion doesn't mean mission accomplished. India have come far, but here's what India still need to fix. Job creation, especially for youth. 65% of India is under 35. India needs more high-quality jobs annually in manufacturing, green tech, and services. Skilling and education. Because only 4% of India's workforce is formally skilled. And that needs to be increased with special government programs like Skill India. We need more practical, digital-first education and apprenticeships. Healthcare access. India spends just 2% of GDP on health. It should be at least 5%. Urban infrastructure. Traffic, pollution, and slums must be tackled with smart urban design. Also, campaigns should be launched to generate better civic sense among people. Income equality. Top 1% control 40% of wealth. More support is needed for MSMEs and rural entrepreneurs, making the system more business-friendly and secure. India doesn't need to be the next Singapore. India needs to be the best version of itself. A place where income may be modest in dollars, but dignity, opportunity, and comfort are accessible to everyone. And development is felt in every home, not just seen in GDP numbers. So, yes, celebrate $4 trillion, not because it's the end, but because it's proof that we're capable of much more. This is not the finish line. This is India's launchpad. If you believe India can grow with its own model, give this video a like. Share it with someone who still thinks GDP is all about dollars.